Physically, I'm unable to do this problem as I'm not able to use a compass in order to make this construction. So you're going to have to complete this construction on your own and check it with me to see if you did it correctly. Moving on to the next question. Number 26. The diagram below shows parallelogram LMNO with diagonal LN. The measure of angle M is equal to 118 degrees, as you can see in the diagram, and the measure of angle LNO is equal to 22 degrees, as also labeled in the diagram. Explain why the measure of angle NLO is 40 degrees. Well, the first thing you need to recognize is the angle that they're talking about. So NLO is this angle right here. So this part of angle L, and they want to know why this one is 40 degrees. Well, we're being told that this is a parallelogram, and I know that in a parallelogram opposite angles are congruent, so I can assign angle O as 118 degrees as well. Then we have a triangle formed by angle NLO as well. And we know that the sum of three angles in a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So if I know that angle O is 118 degrees, and we were given angle ONL as 22 degrees, then the angle that's left has got to be a 40-degree angle in order to make the sum of the three angles of the triangle equal to 180 degrees. So this is the reason as to why angle NLO has got to be 40 degrees. So if you can write that all down in an explanation, then we're good. So since M 18 and we have a parallelogram, okay, again, since the measure of angle M is equal to 118 degrees and we have a parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent. Therefore, angle O is 118 degrees. As a result, we end up with two angles of a triangle, and in order to have a sum equal to 180 degrees, the third angle, NLO, must be 40 degrees. Number 27. The coordinates of the endpoints of AB are A, -6, -5, and B, 4, 0. Point P is on AB. Determine and state the coordinates of point P such that AP to PB is a 2:3 ratio. The use of the set of axes below is optional. I'm going to go ahead and graph this on the axis to get a clear visual as to what this looks like. So what we need to do is get a 2:3 ratio with the location of P on this line segment, AB. So since we have a 2:3 ratio, the entire sum of the ratio is equal to 5. So the parts are 2/5 and 3/5. So in order to get the x value, we're going to take -6 for point A, add that to the part of 2/5, and multiply that to the difference of the x value of B and the x value of A. So the first coordinate for x is -2. And for the y value, we take -5 and add that to 2/5 times the difference of the y value for b and the y value of a. So that gives us a solution for y as -5 plus 2 is a -3. So the coordinate is a -2, -3 for p, and that is located right here. Number 28, the diagram below shows a ramp connecting the ground to the loading platform 4.5 feet above the ground. The ramp measures 11 3/4 feet from the ground to the top of the loading platform. Determine and state to the nearest degree the angle of elevation formed by the ramp and the ground. Okay, so we're looking for an angle measure, and that's the angle of elevation that is located at the bottom between the ground and the hypotenuse. And we need to set up a trig function in order to do that, so you have to recall SOHCAHTOA. So based on the angle measure that we're looking for and its relationship to the sides that are given, we are dealing with the opposite side as well as the hypotenuse, which is always the longest side that's across from the right angle. And since we have the hypotenuse as well as the opposite side, we're dealing with the sine function. So the sine of the angle is equal to the opposite 4.5 over the hypotenuse of 11.75. In order to find angle measures using trig, you need to use its inverse function. Again, make sure that you are in degree mode if you haven't done so already, but you should have earlier. And we get an approximation to be to the nearest degree 23 degrees. Number 29, in the diagram below of circle O, the area of the shaded sector AOC is 12 pi square inches, and the length of segment OA is 6 inches. So that's also the value for the radius. I'm going to designate that. Determine and state the measure of angle AOC. So we're looking for this interior angle. So we are given that the area of the shaded sector AOC, and that's obviously the shaded in part there. The formula in order to find that is the area of the circle, which we know that to be pi r square, and the area of the entire circle here is equal to pi times 6 square, which is 36 pi. So in order to find the area of the shaded sector, it's the formula area times x over 360 degrees, and we know that the total to be 12 pi square inches. So now we just have to solve for x in order to get the angle measure in terms of degrees. So at this point in time, what we can do is divide out 36 pi, or get rid of the pi's. And we get x over 360 is equal to, this reduces to 1/3, And x is equal to 360 divided by 3 if we cross multiply, and we get 120-degree angle. Number 30, after reflection over a line, triangle A prime, B prime, C prime is the image of triangle ABC. Explain why triangle ABC is congruent to triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. The reason as to why they are congruent is that a reflection is a rigid motion that preserves distance. So that's the reason as to why. Number 31. A flagpole casts a shadow of 16.60 meters long. So here's my flagpole and our shadow. That's 16.60 meters long. Tim stands at a distance of 12.45 meters from the base of the flagpole. So Tim he has a distance from the flagpole of 12.45, and he also has a shadow that meets the end of the flagpole's shadow, which I just drew. If Tim is 1.65 meters tall, determine and state the length of the flagpole to the nearest tenth of a meter. Okay, so we're looking for the height of the flagpole. What I'm going to do is draw two triangles because they just made this problem so complicated that it was literally unnecessary to do. So we're looking for the height of the flagpole, and it's got a total distance of 1660 meters for the shadow. We can find the shadow of Tim. We know that his height is 1.65, and if we subtract 12.4 from 1660, we're going to get what's left of Tim's shadow right here because we have the total distance, and we get a difference of 4.2. So now we can set up a proportion. X over 16.60 is equal to 1.65 over 4.2. We have height equal to height, and distance of the shadow equal to distance of the shadow. So we're going to cross multiply here, and as a result we get x equal to approximately 6.6 meters. And we're using to the tenths, please, because that's what we were asked to do.